Hi everybody, this is Andreas Nest, business coach. Today we are talking to Richard Peckham. He runs a Portsmouth-based company called Portsmouth Flyers. And we just wanted to have a word with him to find out how he's managed to create this company, how he's made it successful, and generally get an idea of how he actually moved into this business and made it a success. So thanks Richard, thank you for seeing me.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to start off, if you can give us a little bit of background about how you started, where it all came from. Was it your idea? Was it something you took over?
Well, Portsmouth Flyers came to fruition about 6.5 years ago. I actually was working for Portsmouth City Council at the time.
Right, okay.
I was working as their advertising or marketing salesperson. And the Portsmouth City Council offer a number of different products and services, which I was selling to the businesses around Portsmouth. When actually one of the businesses in Portsmouth actually was a Mountbatten Centre.
Right.
Actually said, Richard, do the council offer a flyer delivery service? To which I replied, no, they don't.
Yeah.
But don't worry, I said, give them to me, I'll get it sorted out for you.
Right.
So I got a few friends of mine that delivered the flyers. They were very pleased. They said, can you do this regularly? And then from there, other companies then found out I did a similar sort of thing.
Okay.
So it grew from a very, very small thing, from a very small company saying, here's some flyers, to the size it is now.
I see. So is that your background, marketing? Is that how you started?
In the main, I mean, for the last sort of 10 years, advertising and marketing has been my thing. Yes, it's always been a local area, and it's always been concentrating on small businesses. I'm not in the corporate world. I'm not a very good corporate salesperson.
So going back 6.5 years, and when you started it off, I mean, how many flyers did you start it off to deliver then?
Well, straight off, I mean, the Mountbatten Centre actually turned around and said, you know, here's 50,000 flyers, which seemed like an awful lot of flyers to me at the time, and said, you know, for them it's quite a small amount. Can you put them around the homes in Portsmouth, which obviously arranged. So yeah, it did start off on a relatively small basis compared to it is now, but at the time, 50,000 flyers seemed like an awful lot of flyers.
Yeah, absolutely, especially if you've not done it before. So you had to organise the printers, the design. Did you do the design as well? Or
no, the Mountbatten Centre actually said, here are our flyers. So they'd arranged the printing,
so they gave you 50,000
design. Right. They said, here's some boxes of 50,000 flyers. Now, fortunately, because of my role at the council, I knew a number of people who could do deliveries. So I approached them and said, hey, you know, would you like to do these deliveries for me?
Well, usually these kind of services are usually delivered by teenagers or people that you know. Do you have a different take on that? Is it better to have maybe?
Well, at the beginning, I kind of employed a number of ranges of ages, anything from sort of teenagers through to adults. I just found from a reliability point of view that adults did a better job of delivering. I found that teenagers got a bit bored on a Saturday afternoon and would much rather play football than
chuck some of the flyers
in the bin. But obviously adults were a bit more conscientious than that and did a much better job. So from at a very early period, I dropped the idea of using teenagers and children to simply use adults.
Yeah, absolutely. And came there a point then, obviously, in your career with the Portsmouth City Council where you said, you know what, my flyer delivery service is now so big that I can do the transition from...
Exactly that. I mean, the council job was a really good job. I really enjoyed working for them. They knew that on the side I kind of had the flyers thing, because it didn't really take up any of my time. All I did was a customer approached me, I took the flyers and gave them to someone else, so it didn't involve any work for me. But after that first job, the Mountbatten Centre asked me to do another job, and then the Cascade Shopping Centre asked another job, and another company. So I got quite well known quite quickly for delivering flyers. So what turned out, what started off life as I'm going to help a customer out, turned into a reasonably good part-time extra money, and then turned into a full-time job, which when I said to the council, you know, actually I'm going to make a break from the council, and it was all done nicely. I mean, I left them on a good basis. I actually helped train my replacement. She's still there. We still get very well. The council, I still enjoyed a good relationship, but it was time to move on to run my own business.
I see. And how many years was it in then, when, you know, from starting as a side job 6.5 years ago? When did you make the transition?
About a year and a half. Yeah, about a year and a half into it.
So about 5 years ago?
Yeah, so about 5 years ago, I kind of branched out and said, you know what, I'm going to do this on my own and really get into this properly, yes.
And how did you find that then? Suddenly having no longer security from Portsmouth City Council, now you're suddenly on your own. And
it's always a scary thing to do. I mean, obviously the Portsmouth City Council paid me a good wage for coming to work. They paid my holiday.
Yeah.
If I was ill one day, they'd still pay me. A company car allowance, an office to work in, and everything else. So that was all very nice, and it was nice that on the last Friday of each month that I'd look at my bank account and be some money in it. So of course that was always going to be a nervous transfer cost, but it was also an exciting time. I mean, at the end of the day, people dream of working for themselves. People dream of the chance to kind of own their own business and be responsible for their own income. So I wanted to do it, but of course at the beginning it was tough. It was hard. I'm not going to pretend it wasn't. It was times when I regretted it.
What was the hardest challenge you overcame?
I think part of it was that I moved over. I think sort of beginning of the year, sort of February, March time, to working purely for myself. When actually everyone was thinking of spring and summer and getting the flyers out.
Yep.
I think the toughest month came in the August of that year, when actually all the decision makers went on holiday.
Right.
And actually what would look like a really good thriving business turned to nothing for August.
Right.
So I suddenly had a month where everything stopped.
Right.
And of course when you've got your own income coming in, when everything stops, it's a bit of worry.
Yeah,
also, same thing happened again in December.
Yeah.
Summer December. If people are doing marketing for December, they've done it in November, and December stopped. So I had a couple of months where I was, oh dear, pulling my hair out thinking, is this going to work?
So you've got a 10 months window of making money.
Yeah, and still is the case now. Still is a 10-month window of making money, that's right.
And obviously that impacted your cash flow. And by that, I mean, early day, one of the biggest problems in business is having enough cash flow to see these periods through.
Yeah.
So how did you overcome it? You just hold tight and then went, whoa.
The first year, yes.
Yeah.
The first month that happened, which was the August.
Yeah.
I mean, when I transferred across into February, March, and said, "Wow, this is my own business. This is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm going to be rolling in money."
Yeah.
In August time, it came out, there was no money. So that was a stress. That was a worry.
Yeah.
But obviously, come year two, I kind of knew that August would be there, so I reined in some of the spend and made sure I had some savings in place.
So you basically were running on your last reserves when September came and
that's right. Thinking if I made the right decision, then orders came in September, which turned things around again.
Okay. And that's been going like this for the last 6.5 years, basically.
Yes, it has. Yeah, I mean the regular months that are quiet are August and December. Although year on year, the business is growing, and thus those months are getting slightly more busy. But I can understand why those months would still be quiet within the business.
Okay, and so now you forecast a bit better and you manage your money better, so you know that.
Yes, I do.
And so that was one of the big challenges. Do you have any other challenges? Was it like employing adults and getting the flyers delivered?
The main challenges we get with the business, first of all, as you said, the employing adults. So I made a mistake at the beginning that I employed some children who were unfortunately unreliable. Okay, so that was one of the mistakes that I made. That I had to overcome that. The second one is the obvious question that everyone always asks. The first question I always ask is, are you sure they get delivered? That everybody's perception of delivering flyers is that they get chucked in the bin.
Yep.
Now, and in some cases, I've seen that. I've seen the press. I've seen reports of other companies that do that. So the first question I always have to overcome is, how do you know they don't get chucked in the bin? So we overcome that by employing adults, by doing a check-in service, by.
What do you mean by check-in service?
Well, we will physically go out and knock
check?
doors in area, knock doors and say, "Hi, have you seen these flyers? Have they come through your door?"
Right.
The other way we do it too is that we've got enough friends and family around the area that actually, when I give a map out to someone, I normally know someone in the area, and I'll say, "When you get these flyers through your door, send me a quick text or give me a quick call," and that happens as well. But the check-in service is obviously very important for our customers.
And that works very well?
Yes, well, we don't get many complaints. I mean, we a lot of our customers come back to us. We're not in the news saying we found lots of flyers thrown in the bins, and we're still pretty high on the Google ranking, so we must be doing something right.
Yeah, very good. And so looking back then over the last 6.5 years, was there anything that you're really proud of? Anything that you think I've really pulled this off from what it was?
I suppose I'm most proud of it is that putting flyers through doors, it would seem like a dying art. With the internet here, with social media, with Facebook and everything else, is that actually most people surely would look online to buy their products. Surely they would source it through the internet. But actually, our business is growing with putting bits of paper in people's doors. So there obviously is a marketplace still in place to do that, which has surprised me. And has been really good. It's been really a great thing for our business.
Good for you, yeah. And is that? Do you think that's down to people getting a bit fed up with getting hundreds of emails, and maybe they rather look at something that they can physically touch?
Well, I think two things. One, that there is probably an age group that expect and have been and are used to picking up flyers from the door. And I think we're probably looking at 35, 40-year-olds plus that have grown up with papers, magazines, flyers coming through the door, so they expect to get that. So they expect to get the flyers through the door and read that.
Oh, cool. And so would you give any advice to any young entrepreneur that thinks I could go into a similar business? What would you give them as advice?
Don't deliver flyers in Portsmouth. We're doing that. No, I think find the right product. So find the right service. Definitely do your homework on it. Obviously, make sure you've got plans in place, and definitely have some good solid plans. Prepare for the unexpected. Prepare for the times that the business is going to be down, and also don't expect to start a business and run before you can walk. I mean, it's taken us 6.5 years to build up what we now consider a successful business called Portsmouth Flyers. That we still have bad months, we still have bad times, we still have times when businesses, don't take your service. We do have competition out there, but we work really hard to make sure we do a really good job. We are always marketing our products, we're always getting our service out there, making sure people know about it. We keep in good contact with our customers. Our customer loyalty is very, very good. And we understand that the customers are spending their money to market their product, so we need to do a good job.
Absolutely, and I think you've grown the business beyond just the delivery, isn't it? You've also do the design as well. Do you help with that?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we now, because we now deliver so many flyers, we have excellent relationships with printers, which means that when companies come to us and ask for printing quotes, we are very, very competitive. And of course, the natural byproduct of that is that I've had a number of people that say, actually, we are designers as well, would you like us to design flyers? So as far as a fully managed service is concerned, we can offer a really good service and a really good price to our customers.
Well, I know from experience that you also, the leader of the Business Builders. Is this which is a local networking group in Fareham and on Hayling Island in Langston? And is that where you find a lot of your leads from when it comes to these people?
Some, yes. I mean, I wouldn't have carried on going to networking meetings if I got nothing at all. Although what I have found from networking is, yes, I will get opportunity and leads from the room or business from the room, but actually I get regular referrals and leads from people who refer me to other people. But more important, I think, with the networking is it. Working for yourself can be a lonely job, can be a lonely life, and actually going off to meet other business owners, to hear their tales, to hear what's good or bad in their lives, actually helps your own business too. So that's really the main reason I think for networking is to meet other businesses and see what's happening in the business.
Bounce off their experiences and find out how they've done it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, okay. Very good. And is there anything that you would like to share with your audience in terms of any exciting news that are coming up from Portsmouth Flyers?
Well,
any events that you are scheduled in? Anything that's of interest?
Possibly. I think with regard to Portsmouth Flyers, I mean, we now Portsmouth Flyers has grown up with a domestic marketplace for our delivery of flyers. So we specialise in delivering to domestic households across the PO1
business to customers.
Yes, that's right. So, but now obviously with our new service, which is the business delivery, that's our new exciting service that we can now say to you or say to upcoming customers. Give us your flyers that you want delivered to businesses in the area, and we can now do that too. We also are looking at having a sort of joined up marketing plan. So rather than just simply flyers, we're going to say to people, we can deliver flyers, but in the area we deliver flyers, perhaps we can look at another marketing campaign to promote, to help that. Things like mobile billboards or human billboards. We can also walk around and actually have the billboards on your back and give out flyers. We do that as well. But also we're looking at maybe targeting perhaps some social media in a certain area with the flyers. So you have flyers, social media, human billboard, walk-arounds. Everyone gets lots of opportunities to do customers' products.
I see. Okay. Well, that's great. It's been a great time talking to you. Thank you very much, Richard.
Thank you, Jess.
And best of luck with your business. And back to you guys. So if you're ever planning to create something similar, there was some good advice from Richard. So best of luck with everything. And that's it for this week. Thank you very much. Goodbye.